There we go. Unexpected, victorious Tornado Energy.
2016 Wargaming Continental League World Champions.
Hello and welcome to another night of the WGL APAC Season 2. My name is Max Arogi for Foglair. Joining me on the desk tonight is Jordan Elfish, Guy Mays, and we have a wonderful night of tanks ahead of us.
We definitely do. I'm really looking forward to it. Good to be back with you on the desk here again. I mean, it's the first time we're going to see you this season, but we did see you last season. I think everyone was kind of excited when they saw you last season, so hopefully everyone's excited to see you again.
Yeah, had a brief stint back in Season 1, majority doing a lot of the obsing, but now it's time to step up to the plate and see if I can have a crack at casting. But like I said, we got some great games tonight. I'm really looking forward to our first one especially.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be an interesting match coming out here. Obviously, we saw some good matches last week. Didn't see anything from Team Efficiency, though, so that's going to be interesting to see how they go tonight.
Well, let's have a quick look at the standings to get you guys up to speed. Of course, we saw EL Gaming, Horseman, Karen Tiger, and Meltdown all come away with 2 wins apiece, getting themselves that top 4 spot on the leaderboard.
Yeah, definitely. I think not too surprising to see some of those teams up towards the scoreboard there. Karen Tiger and Meltdown dropping 1 game apiece, but I mean, it is what it is. Team Efficiency here, I'd expect to be sort of challenging them for that 2 to 6th spot. But Dark Wolves, Coalition Zoo, and B Gaming definitely, I suppose, the losers of last week, especially B Gaming in particular, who had a really uncharacteristically poor week, in my opinion. 0-3 was not the result that I expected coming out from them so early on. So hopefully they're going to be able to bounce back here in week number 2.
No, definitely a bit of a shocker, but most of the results on the tables do stand true to what we expected. The big kind of wild card here is the Team Efficiencies. We didn't get to see them play last week, so they have the opportunity sitting in the dead middle of the pack to completely upset the standings. And of course, they're our first game of the night tonight.
They definitely are. Up against Coalition Zoo, I think that's not going to be too bad of a matchup here for Team Efficiency. Like I said, I'm really interested to see how they come out into this game because they have had some roster changes coming into Season 2. But I definitely think, at least in my opinion, I'd probably be favoring them for this matchup.
Well, like we said, we do have them up first. Let's take a quick look at the schedule so you guys are up to date on what we'll be viewing tonight. It will be the Coalition Zoo taking on Team Efficiency on that first game. Then Dark Wolves versus EL Gaming will be the one rounding out tonight. Yeah,
definitely somewhat of a mismatch at the end of tonight, I think, is probably safe to say. EL Gaming definitely coming into that one as the red-hot favourites. Dark Wolves having a pretty poor season, well, not poor season, I suppose, but a tougher season than some last season. And obviously coming into this season, going up against EL Gaming in the second week is not going to be the greatest of times. But focusing back in, I guess, on Coalition Zoo and Team Efficiency, that one for me is probably going to be a little bit closer than EL Dark Wolves.
Well, here's the thing, right? You've got Team Efficiency. They're a week behind of competitive play compared to everyone. Surely that doesn't mean too much because I'm sure they're scrimming just as much, playing as much tanks as everyone else. But it does give the Coalition Zoo a little bit of an edge. But then you have to think, that's an extra week of research that Team Efficiency got to do. They got to watch the Coalition Zoo's games. They got to scope out what tanks they're running, what strats they're playing on what certain maps. So maybe a little bit of an edge coming into this game on Efficiency side.
Yeah, that's a good point. I will have to see how it goes, but I definitely think Coalition Zoo, they did show some good signs last week, especially against Meltdown. They had some good rounds on MUROVANKA. Madhouse in the STRV was looking promising for them, but again, up against an opponent like Team Efficiency, I'm just not sure it's going to be enough.
Well, let's have a quick look at the lineup on the Coalition Zoo. They have some of our favourite players here. We got to see Madhouse and Roby1 on the finals of Season 1, and another heavy favourite for the Coalition Zoo for me is their camo. That obnoxious pink and yellow just gets me every time.
The vomit camo, I think that's what I really mostly think of it as. But I don't actually think Madhouse is playing tonight from what I understand. So that's going to be a bit of an issue for the Coalition Zoo. Last week we saw them play 1 match without Madhouse as well, and they went down 5-0 in that one. So obviously didn't go too well for them. But really, across the board, very few changes for this lineup coming into Season 2. The only real major one, I think, really is Lion coming into this roster. He played pretty well last week, I got to say, though.
You have to decide if it's a strength or weakness having your same roster because last season they didn't do too crash hot, so not changing many things up could be a little bit of a head scratch. We'll have to see if Lion is enough to get them over the table. Of course, let's have a look at the other side of the battlefield. It's Team Efficiency rocking a fresh new Red Panda.
Yeah, this is where things start to get interesting when we look at the rosters here because got a couple of new players on this team efficiency lineup, Granovsky and JT coming into the roster, and they're both on the core roster as well, so we more than likely, I feel like we'll be seeing them tonight. The interesting thing about that is neither of them have played WGL Gold Series before, so coming into this one fresh, but maybe something that can shuffle around this team efficiency lineup, give them a bit of an extra boost. And well, I mean, they performed quite well last season, got 3rd/4th position, and I think they're going to be aiming for something similar this season.
Well, that's the thing. If they're already rocking high results and bringing in these 2 new players in a very solid roster, surely it has to be an upgrade, because unless it's odd stages of chemistry in the team, you want everything to be a clear upgrade. So I'm really excited to see their first game of the night and just how well they do. And of course, they are going up against Coalition Zoo, who out of the gate aren't impressing us too much, but that's not to say that they don't have a great strength going into this game as well. Yeah,
definitely. I think we might be able to see a few rounds coming out here from Coalition Zoo. It depends how much they've really put in the effort this week. Team efficiency, I know, have definitely been scrimming hard, so I think they're going to try and come out of the gates with a very good result, a really strong result, and try and get the early win on the board just to get a bit of momentum flowing throughout the season. And I definitely think that this matchup here against Coalition Zoo is one of the better ones that they could have had in their first week. It's not going up against the likes of EL Gaming, Meltdown, something like that, which would be an incredibly tough task for team efficiency. But here against Coalition Zoo, obviously I've mentioned before, I favour them in this one, so I think, as I said, it's probably a good start for them. I'm going to go 5-2 in the favour of team efficiency.
Yeah, we're right on the money with that one. Myself also going for the 5-2. And of course, we have Alex back in the control room. Going for a bit of a bold one on 5-3.
Yeah.
Definitely has some more faith in the Coalition
He's
Zoo
a fan
than
of Coalition Zoo. Every time the Coalition Zoo comes up, he's like, I'm backing my boys.
Backing them to lose, though, but not lose to the same
backing them 5-3 to lose, but he's at least giving them one more round than us. But yeah, I guess
they'll take it. They'll take it.
It comes down to maps as well, really, what we see coming out here.
Sure.
I mean, WGL last week was quite a nice prospect for Coalition Zoo, but I have to question how well that's going to work out for them, given that I don't think Madhouse is playing tonight, and I feel like Madhouse was a key part of their success on WGL in that STRV. But apart from that, when you look at the map pool, it didn't look all that impressive for Coalition Zoo.
We'll have to see if they can shake things up, maybe throw in one of those maps that are a little bit more stronger for them. Of course, we can see MUROVANKA, Proporovka, and Himmelsdorf for the first 3 steps. And MUROVANKA, again, going to be rounding out the night for us.
Yeah, so not too surprising to see Cliff taken off the field here. I imagine it was Coalition Zoo who got rid of that one because that was their first veto in both of their matches last week, and I think it's a pretty decent map for team efficiency. Prokorovka, that was a pick from Coalition Zoo as well as Himmelsdorf. So MUROVANKA, interestingly enough, picked up by team efficiency. It was their map last year, or last season, that team efficiency basically didn't play the entire season.
Yeah.
So interesting to see them putting that into their map pool, picking it first in their first match tonight.
Well, I believe they also won it as well.
They did. They brought it out in the finals, that's right.
Yeah, they just pulled it out of the hat, and then all of a sudden, here they are playing a map they've never played, and they did a great job on it as well. So definitely maybe reviewing some of the footage, some of the strategies from Season 1, thinking, hey, MUROVANKA, it could be maybe a hidden treasure for us.
Look, I don't mind seeing a MUROVANKA pick coming out. If you can get MUROVANKA as your pocket strategy, that's really going to make life difficult because the rest of the teams, or for the rest of the teams in APAC, because the other teams don't seem to enjoy playing MUROVANKA. It's frequently the most vetoed and least played throughout this region. So I definitely think if Team Efficiency are sort of melding themselves into a MUROVANKA team, or at least melding that into their map pool, that's going to help them.
Look, definitely a niche strategy coming out here. Could be very strong. And I mean, it's one of those maps that just has a lot of strange height advantages on the hills. You've got a lot of vegetation in the forest, a few houses littered across. So if you are able to utilize those vantage points well, and like you said, meld themselves into a team that plays quite well in MUROVANKA, then there's no reason that it can't always be a pocket pick for them.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a map which you really need to understand a lot more than some of the other maps, because some of the angles and the sniping positions aren't quite as obvious as, say, something like Steps or Himmelsdorf, where you're just looking, well, on Steps it's very open, but on Himmelsdorf you're just looking down a corridor. But on MUROVANKA, like you said, there's lots of houses scattered around the place, lots of trees, hills everywhere, so you kind of really need to know the positions that you're taking so that you can get the damage done.
Well, if they can pull it off and show us that it's a strong map to add to their repertoire, then there's no reason that they can't once again contest that top 2 spot. Obviously, we're going to get to see later on tonight if EL still on form as they were last week, going up against Dark Wolves. Not a fan, I'm sure their fans of Dark Wolves aren't going to be too happy about this one.
No, look, I think EL is definitely going to still be quite on form here. At least in this matchup, I don't think they should have too many difficulties. So, should be, in my opinion, a pretty easy match for EL Gaming.
And I'm really excited to see just how good it is. But of course, going back into this game, really excited to see how much practice they've had on MUROVANKA efficiency that is. And if Coalition Zoo, like you mentioned, it's a very heavily vetoed map. If Coalition Zoo even know where to start, really.
Yeah, it's going to be a big test for Coalition Zoo to start things off here. I don't know how much play they've had on MUROVANKA.
Sure.
I don't think it was a map which was very successful for them last season either. So coming into this one, it's going to be interesting to see how Coalition Zoo start things off. But more for me, it's going to be a bit of an indication as to how Team Proficiency are going to be shaping up this season.
Jumping into the tank lineups, we've got them on your screen. Coalition Zoo going to be running with 3 113s and 4 Batchats. Interesting stuff here.
Couple of Batchats, couple of Batchat APs there, but a pretty standard lineup across the board for the Coalition Zoo there on that defensive side. Team Efficiency over on the attack by the looks of things. Batchats, no surprises there. Kranvagen and T125 picked up from them as well. I do like those picks, both very good tanks for that hull down sort of position that we do tend to see a lot of MUROVANKA. Lots of gun depression on those tanks as well, and the WZ-132 to round things off there. Not a tank that we see all that much, but I do know Team Efficiency have been messing around with that one, so we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, a lot of great mobility, a lot of great firepower, and like we mentioned with MUROVANKA, where even that slight little height advantage on those hills is so important. If you're able to get there even the split second before the enemy team and use that vantage point to either get a spot, an early shot, that can be the defining factor between a game.
Yep, and Team Efficiency starting off on the defensive side here, actually, by the looks of things, and that kind of makes a little bit more sense given the tank lineups that we've seen coming out from them. Obviously, the T125 and the Kranvagen are going to be great for defending this one flag, and well, TCZ very quick onto that one flag as well, so it's going to be up to Team Efficiency here to respond. They've only got 26 seconds to work with, and obviously running into a 3-stack of Batchats like that is never going to be an exciting prospect. So we'll see what Team Efficiency does here, but it's not going to be too fun of a start for them, I'd say.
No, that hill's an absolute cluster when it gets down to it and the action starts going through. You can see Bohan, he's already taken an early shot to the TCZ. Off to quite a commanding start. They're really forcing their hand of Team Efficiency. They're saying, hey, this is your map. We're not going to give you time to think about what you want to do to set up. You're going to have to fight us on the base, and already on 90%, Team Efficiency is going to have to answer soon. Yeah,
well, Bohan can do just that. In the T125, very, very good for poking around this corner. Great little bit of gun depression, but the fight starting here for Coalition Zoo.
Oh, look, he's just sacrificing himself for the greater good in the end. Bohan goes down as Pixel picks up that one more with a shot again across the map, takes out Pacamanias, and Gravoski takes out Pixel as well. The Coalition Zoo's just dropping like flies right now, but they found a little pocket of Team Efficiency members, and they're converging. Yeah, these two 113s coming in are going to be quite effective against the Batchats, which in theory for Team Efficiency should be reloading. You can see Granovsky not firing at the moment, so I don't think he's got a clip loaded. The Kranvagen as well for JT probably not loaded, and this is actually turning out quite nicely for TCZ. They've picked their time correctly. Yeah, the Zoo have found the pocket of picks that they need right now, and JT, he's got to book it out of here. He needs to get himself to safety, taking a lot of damage, really not facing himself well. The back of that tank quite vulnerable. Really want
off the reload in 3 seconds, though.
Let's see if we can get a shot. Safi, Nomad, kind of darting off against each other. Lion finds a kill on the Kranvagen. Yeah. Looking great for the Zoo.
Yeah, exactly. And more here in his Batchat. He's going to try and get some damage done, but really there's only so much that he can do. Lion doing a good job of blocking the shots for Chippy there. It's just Joke now driving along, seeing if he can close out the rest of these kills. Nomad actually doing the lion's share of the damage here. Skell just sort of sorry, the only one that's remaining here for Team Efficiency. And yeah, there's some issues I think there for Team Efficiency, which we can probably talk about once this match is over. But really, a great start for Coalition Zoo.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. They basically threw down the gauntlet immediately. They said, this is how we're gonna be playing this map. We're gonna be playing it fast and heavy. You need to contest us if you want a chance. And Paul Bohan, to save the round, he had to sacrifice himself. 5 tanks, all just surrounding him. That disgusting mix of pink and yellow, the last sights he'll ever see.
I think the major problem there really for Team Efficiency was that when the fight actually started, there was a few missed shots coming out from those Batchats. You could see, obviously, the T125 Bohan in the front tanking a lot of damage from the Coalition Zoo Batchats, but in the town, the Team Efficiency Batchats were coming around behind. Unfortunately, the Batchats from Team Efficiency weren't quite landing all of their shots. I saw at least 1 or 2 that were missed, and then once the reloads were coming across, because of the fact that there was so many autoloaders, 5 autoloaders on the side of Team Efficiency, all of them on the reload, really only the WZ-132, which was the only one alive, given the T125 was down, so the only gun in the game that was firing was the WZ-132. We saw 3 113s on the side of Coalition Zoo, and obviously you've got plenty more guns firing. It's always going to work out well for the Coalition Zoo there. So I just think Team Efficiency needed to aim their shots better, land their shots, and obviously, well, at least I feel like they might have had maybe 1 or 2 too many autoloaders on that lineup.
Yeah, that's just one of the things when you're playing such. It feels weird calling tanks a really high-paced game, but when you get a round like that, where it's over and within 40 seconds, about every single shot matters. And like you mentioned, the autoloaders such long reload time once they fire their load, so you really have to calculate how long you've got before you got to peak again.
You really do have to basically delete 1 or 2 tanks from the field there. Team Efficiency, I think they got 1 tank off the field, and then maybe Safi got another one towards the end of the fight. But then once those guys were on the reload, like I said, the 113s really started to show their strength there. And unfortunately for Team Efficiency, they've lost the first round on their own map pick, which is not a great start.
No, you're right, and like coming into MUROVANKA, you mentioned it's one of the highly contested maps that people don't want to play on. So when you're picking that, you need to come in and you need to show us something strong. So hopefully they can come onto the second half and reevaluate how they want to play the game, how they intended to play it, because it seemed that they had an odd about like a 60-40 split. They had 4 members over at that B hill, the other 3 kind of darting around the forest near A, and then they just weren't fast to react. Like you mentioned, they weren't hitting their long-range shots, so it was just over before it began. Yeah,
I think the post-battle stats are going to show us a bit, maybe more what was going wrong there for Team Efficiency, because we'll have to see, which of those players didn't necessarily get the damage across here. So let's have a look and see. Well, no surprises there. Coalition Zoo with 4 up towards the top. More Skell on Safi. Well, disappointing one. Difficult, I suppose, there to see for Team Efficiency that Skell in the WZ 132 had second top damage on that team. Obviously, being in that tier 8 tank, you would expect him to be lower down, or at least you would expect the other guys on the team to be doing more of the work, I suppose. But he was alive for quite a long time, so was able to get a bit more damage out. But really, I'm seeing a lot of Team Efficiency names missing on this top 7 lineup, and I think the second half of this scoreboard is going to be really what tells the tale.
Well, that's it, right? You mentioned once those autoloaders were done, it was the 113s that got to shine through with their strengths, and they're the ones topping the table. So the rest of the bottom half of the leaderboard really sings the tale of why Team Efficiency kind of came up with the L on that round.
Yeah, Granovsky with less than the clip worth of damage. Bohan, I guess in the T125, you can't really blame him too much. He basically had to go in there and get that reset. JT only connecting a couple of shots out of his clip and didn't even get any shots off from the second clip. And Party, interestingly enough, is down the bottom of the scoreboard there for Team Efficiency. Typically speaking, he's actually one of their top damage dealers, and firing 4 shots, only managing to connect 1. Again, that's where your problem starts to lie.
Yeah, they just kind of got singled out, picked off, and looked quite easy for the Coalition Zoo to make that happen. They just the strategy seemed quite straightforward. Stack everyone on the hill, force the members to go for the break, and it seemed like Team Efficiency just answered way too late and only sending in players 1 by 1.
Yeah, they're just their fire wasn't quite there. I think it was down to the mechanics, really. Like, Team Efficiency, they had the right idea. They knew what they had to do. Bohan getting in there, tanking the shells. They had the bat chats at the back, but things just weren't quite working out there. I think JT in the Kranwagen wasn't necessarily in the position that he needed to be getting the damage out either. So there was a few maybe positional errors and just mechanical errors, I suppose, from Team Efficiency. But hopefully here in the second half, when they're on the attack, they can kind of dictate the pace of the game a little bit better. They might have a better chance, because it felt to me a little bit like Coalition Zoo kind of caught them off guard with that early push. Yeah,
because that was a very fast push. We came into the game and already it was about on 50% of the hill cap. So the Coalition Zoo came out firing on all cylinders. And it seems like if the Team Efficiency do want to slow it down a bit, now being on attack, like you mentioned, they get to decide the pace of the game. Will they set up first, go for a pick, or maybe just bum rush the hill, similar to what TCZ did?
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting question. We'll find out the answer when we get into the game. Team Efficiency, they don't necessarily, to me, seem like the kind of team that plays one style or another, whether they just always play aggressive or always play passive. They do sort of change things up a little bit. So I think, when we get into tank lineups, that's when we might get more of a better idea of what sort of a style they're going to be going for here. Probably expecting quite a few bat chats to come out, maybe some 113s. I don't necessarily think we'll see a Kranwagen or a T125 on the attacking side, purely because they're maybe just a little bit too slow here for MUROVANKA.
We've kind of been capitalizing on the mistakes that Efficiency made going in that round, but it was a great job, of course, by TCZ to capitalize on those mistakes, just focusing down the stray members, getting the shots when it counted, the accuracy on point for all those 113s, and it's quite bold to go for an all-in strategy on MUROVANKA on the hill, because you lose a lot of those vantage points when you're down in that B ring, so they could just essentially just come over and get that height advantage, look down, fire shots, peek out and poke, because there's so many different areas you can be shot from. So to be able to pull that off with that level of vigor, it takes confidence.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to worry Team Efficiency all that much. So they probably would have come into this one feeling pretty confident. I mean, they've done their practice. They've been practicing quite hard, I know. And they obviously feel like, as a team, they're probably a little bit stronger than Coalition Zoo as well. So they might be able to just brush that one off. Obviously, things are going to be a little bit disappointed there in their team speak, but I definitely think they can brush that one off and probably feel quite confident coming in here to the second. I mean, after all, it is only one round.
That's true. Let's jump into the tank lineups to have a look at what they'll be bringing to the battlefield going into the second round here.
Yeah, a little bit. I kind of like this lineup a little bit from Team Efficiency, a little bit more because they do have that extra normal gun on the field, the Object 140 replacing the Kranwagen here on the attack. So they do still have quite a lot of autoloaders in those bat chats, but at least they can have some damage when the autoloaders are reloading. On the side of Coalition Zoo, it's a little bit more interesting. Kranwagen coming out for them, T125, STB1 as well, all very good tanks with excellent gun depression, and the TVP as well coming out for them. So not a bad lineup here for the Coalition Zoo. I don't mind it at all, but they might suffer the same sort of a trouble that Team Efficiency did on their defensive side, in that they've got so many autoloaders, and if they get caught off guard, or if they get their reload times wrong, Team Efficiency are going to be able to pounce with that Object 140. Yeah,
things can go downhill very quickly if you're caught on the reload, especially with these guys. If they're timing them in their head, and of course they are playing at this level, you need to be able to know every single type of tank, their reload times, just how much leeway you can get away with playing so forward. But we are jumping into the second round of MUROVANKA here. Team Efficiency down 1-0 to the Coalition Zoo, but it's their turn for attack, and we're jumping on board with Skell, who's going at full speed on the RU-215, trying to get some early scout on with his boy Safi.
Yeah, the RU-251, probably one of the quickest tanks in the game once you actually get to the top speed, but here we can instantly see Team Efficiency, I guess a bit of a disparity between them and the strategy that Coalition Zoo had opted to take. A bit slower here for Team Efficiency, opting to go towards the other side of the map as well, sort of setting up in, I guess, a bit of a default setup, spreading out across the map, just trying to get those spots across, and they have spotted out a couple of those tanks on Coalition Zoo up towards the hill there, but as of yet, haven't managed to do any damage across. And we'll see Coalition Zoo for now, or rather Team Efficiency for now, sending Skell forward, maybe going to try and get him in towards that 2 flag and get some cap timer ticking down.
You can see Moore trying to look for a shot, not finding anything though. Skell as well really wants to get a few spots here before they decide on what position they want to take, but already we see Team Efficiency playing this one very close to the chest. They're not going to be going for a ballsy strategy like TCZ did in the round before. So, like you mentioned, Team Efficiency, they've got a bunch of different tricks up their sleeve. They're not going to let that early round phase them. They're going to be playing their game coming into it, and they're just waiting on Skell to relay the information back. Yeah,
well, Skell actually got spotted there when he was pushing up a little bit, so he's just backed off a tiny bit. He didn't spot out the person that spotted him, so I guess he did get a little bit of information, knows that he has been spotted, but he doesn't know where from. So that's the issue at the moment for Team Efficiency, and Coalition Zoo obviously quite content just to hold these positions, sit up on the hill, and wait for Team Efficiency to come to them.
You can see on the mini-map here, they're kind of watching all entry points here. Pac-Manius down at that 2 hill. Just going to be waiting a bit to see if anyone goes for it, and most of their positions are up on those hills. They want to make sure they have that line of sight when the time comes. JT moving the Object 140 a little bit closer here. See if he can get some pop shots off. Shooting one over at line. Not going to connect though.
I'm not sure if any of those guys on Coalition Zoo are actually spotted at the moment, or if Team Efficiency is just trying to spam in the direction of that forest, which wouldn't necessarily be the worst idea. There's a very high likelihood that some of those Coalition Zoo players were going to be holding over in that position, but for the moment, it's really tough for Team Efficiency to actually even get any information because they're not getting any of those spots, and Pac-Manius is sort of passive scouting. He's passive scouting so far forward in that AMX 1390 of his, which has a very good camera rating, that it's going to be really tough for any of these Team Efficiency players to spot him out. You can see how close that bat chat is from Team Efficiency, and he has no idea that the 1390 is actually looking straight at him.
He's playing with fire right now. You've got to admire the confidence on this one, but he knows the ins and outs of that tanks. Ooh, that shot. Nearly getting some paint on him, but Pac-Manius in a very vulnerable position once they find out he's there, but as long as he doesn't move too much, fire any shots, the camo rating's high enough on the AMX to keep him safe.
Not to mention he's got the camo net there as well, he can afford to be a little bit more aggressive in that passive
Look at that
scouting
laser
position.
just gone straight through more.
Yeah, exactly. But the trouble is for the 1390, as soon as he fires, he's going to get completely lit up by all those Team Efficiency players. And really no one from Coalition Zoo can actually hit the bat chat that he's looking at apart from him. So it's not worth him firing in this situation. It's better off him just sitting there and playing the passive scout role, which is working out quite nicely at the moment for Coalition Zoo. They have so much information, they know where so many of those Team Efficiency players are, And, well, they're just really quite content ticking down this timer, which is obviously what they need to be doing.
It looks like the call has been made to rotate over to the 2 cap. Want to make sure that Team Efficiency can't slide their way in with Pac-Manius's relaying of the information to the rest of the team. They know that Moore is still there in the bash chat. Looks like shots are being fired, and you miss every shot you don't take. He's just trying to find someone, getting a little bit desperate now.
He's
though.
just spamming every bush that he can get, but he's just unfortunately not firing in the correct direction. And the problem
know
here,
exactly where he is.
yeah, exactly. The problem for Moore is that he can't move from that position now because it's really his only sort of solitude and safety, I suppose, behind that house. If he moves, he gets lit up by those guys on the hill, maybe even from Lion if he gets a good angle over here in that bat chat. So basically, Team Efficiency are now almost forced to at least contest this 2 flag, or if they contest that 1 flag, they're basically going to have to give up that single bat chat that Moore is driving because he's not going to be able to get much done from the position that he's in.
5 minutes left on the clock. Team Efficiency still trying to spot out someone, but just having no luck now. Lion, he knows exactly where Moore is thanks to Pac-Manius, and does he want to go for a few shots? Do they just want to get everyone into position, see if they can just take him down with 1 barrage?
I don't necessarily think Coalition Zoo are going to go too aggressive here. They're quite content just sitting back at the moment. And the second that Moore moves out of that position, yes, they're going to line him up. But I don't think they're going to push in towards him and try and take him out because that would obviously open them up to the angles that Team Efficiency are watching. So there's no point for Coalition Zoo to actually play this one too aggressively. And really the onus is on Team Efficiency to make something happen here because we've seen 5.5 minutes have gone by so far and really they haven't achieved anything.
Party and Granvoski over to the side, up near that 1 cap. Do they want to go for a play here? They know that the majority of the Coalition, well, they have to guess at this stage because they haven't got the spots, but they have to guess that Coalition Zoo will have the high ground. They know exactly where they're going to be just from practice, just from where they would be. Think back to where they played when it was their turn to defend. So they've got a general idea of what to expect. It's just what avenue do you approach? Looks like we see Granvoski and Skell actually taking a few shots here.
Yeah, Party and Granovsky rotating across a bit, but you're right, Skell, he's just been completely lit up there. Chippy, though, has been spotted out here for Coalition Zoo, so a bit of damage from Team Efficiency is being returned. Not sure if that's a worthwhile trade, though. They did lose a tank. Coalition Zoo still sitting pretty on 7.
Chippy just going to back off, let Joker Nomad reinforce the lines. Party takes a shot to the face. He's going to have to back off as well. Team Efficiency, with 3.5 minutes left on the clock, they're down a tank, and with no positional advantage to show for it, looking quite slow to start off the series here.
Yeah, definitely. 3 minutes and 26 seconds left here for Team Efficiency. This is not looking good. They don't have any real map control to speak of, and pretty much all of their positions are known by Coalition Zoo here, who are just taking free shots. Not connecting too many of them, but definitely getting some damage across, and Team Efficiency slowly but surely are being forced out of this round.
Picks up the Kranvagen, takes a shot as well. He's down to about 2/3 of HP left, but it's still nothing major for TCZ. All they have to do is wait it out. 3 minutes exactly left on the clock here. Moore takes a shot as well, and Bohan getting quite low. He really needs to get himself out of there. Looks like he may be burning up.
Yeah, Bohan in the T125, you're right. He did get set on fire there, and, well, there's not much that he can do in this situation. In a heavy tank, he's not going to be able to spot all that much out, and the majority of these guys from Coalition Zoo are going to be able to take shots at him. Odysseus, the one to take the final blow. Nomad has taken a couple of shots in response, but again, the response from Team Efficiency is nowhere near as good as what Team Coalition Zoo, or the Coalition Zoo, were able to get out of that trade.
Quite a lackluster start coming into this, trading 2 tanks for nothing, only a few blows here and there, but all TCZ needs to do is trade out those tanks for other ones and keep Chippies and Pixel on the back line. And that's exactly what they're going to do. Safi seems to be spotted out here. He takes a shot to the side. Pac-Mania is still being a cheeky devil up in that forward bush, just waiting, biding his time, being a scout for his team, essentially, doing his job and doing it well. You can hear the 2-minute alarm has sounded. Now, it's on Team Efficiency. It's do or die. Yeah,
they're going to have some extreme luck here if they want to pick this round up. I mean, Pac-Manius, he's just done so much work sitting in that passive scout position. It seems like Team Efficiency have no real idea of how to actually deal with him. And eventually, Pac-Manius is just going to spring out of this bush and take a couple of shots across. And, you know, he's only in a 1390, which is obviously not the most high damage of tanks being a tier 8, but definitely he has enough damage in his clip to deal with Safi. It's going to take him 3 shots probably, but here we go. Lion actually picks up the kill, but Pac-Manius gives away his position. Doesn't matter though. Coalition Zoo are just in such an advantaged position that there's not going to be anything Team Efficiency can do about this one.
They're trying to walk away from this one with a perfect right now, not dropping any tanks at all. Team efficiency with only 2 players left, JT and Party. Party taking the brunt of the damage. Now JT, where is he going? There's not a lot he can do. Maybe trade tank for tank and pad your stats a little bit here, mate, but it's all going downhill. Missing a shot onto Nomad. Party, he knows he's not long for this world. A few more rounds should do it. Odysseus wants another kill under his belt. 50 seconds left on the clock. I think this one's going to the Coalition Zoo. And MUROVANKA being Team Efficiency's pick, we hyped up being a great pocket pick to start things off. Something to have to your name here, and they just got stomped.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Team Efficiency, but that's really not the way you go about picking MUROVANKA. They did not look comfortable on it at all. I guess on the first round, you could argue maybe they got caught off guard by the speed that the Coalition Zoo played with.
But
on the second round, they just didn't really seem to know what they were necessarily doing there on the attacking side. They were trying to get spots with Skell, but Pacmanius, once he was in that passive scout position, he was getting so many spots, and it just made it so difficult for Team Efficiency to get their own spots, and they were just taking free damage the whole round, and by a certain point, it was just too little too late.
Look, and remember that spot, guys, because I feel like for the rest of the season, we're going to be seeing people taking pot shots at that exact bush to make sure that other sneaky tankers like Pacmanius aren't going to be getting the free information.
Yeah, a little disappointing, I think, there for Team Efficiency as well. You could see Moore was spamming the bush next to it, but wasn't able to actually connect the shot in towards the actual bush that he was sitting in. So maybe a little bit unlucky, you could argue, but it is what it is there for Team Efficiency. And they've gone down 0-2. I really expected them to come out of the gates with a better result than this against Coalition Zoo. But, I mean, we've still got plenty more maps coming up here. I don't count Team Efficiency out just yet.
Well, I hope not, because we predicted them to win this 5-2. So already Coalition Zoo have done exactly what we predicted. Let's not hope they don't ruin our records just yet. But if they come out of this with a win, then I'm sure it's going to be a big surprise to everyone except for themselves. Because when you're playing a game, you expect yourself to win every time.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It would definitely be a surprise to me. I always came into this one envisaging Team Efficiency to have no real problems in this one. But definitely, it's looking like Coalition Zoo at the moment have obviously started off much better than Team Efficiency here. So MUROVANKA, the next map in the pool, that's one that hasn't been too bad for Team Efficiency in the past, but from what we saw last week from Coalition Zoo on that map, there could be some troubles.
Let's have a quick look at the replays to kind of give us a revisit that map and just revisit just how well Coalition Zoo did to control that.
Yeah, well, this is a little unfortunate for Bohan. He was trying to get into a position a bit further forward in the city, but, you know, there's nothing you can do in a T125. When you get spotted out by TVPs, Bat Chads, you know, really you just have to sit there and take the damage. And he bounced a few shells, but eventually some of the ones that need to connect will connect, and they did for the Coalition Zoo. And really, once you lost those 2 early tanks, or I suppose it wasn't too early, but once you lost the tanks, those 2 tanks, and didn't really get anything in response, that was when it was all over for Team Efficiency. Once it was a 5v7, there was not going to be anything they could do about it, especially with only 2 or 3 minutes to play with.
I think you hit the nail on the head, just not making any favorable trades. Every tank going down without a repercussion here. But let's have a look at the post-battle stats. You can see Odysseus, Nomad, and Lion putting up massive amounts of damage in their Bat Shots and T11s, respectively.
Yeah, 27 shots fired from Moore, 33 from JT. You know, they were obviously spamming those bushes super hard, but just not connecting where they needed to. And, I mean, not too bad damage done there by Moore. JT as well, 1800 is not so bad. But, again, it's going to be the second half of the scoreboard here that's going to tell the story for Team Efficiency, because that's where things are going to go a bit missing. Skell in the RU251 not getting much damage across, which is fair enough.
Tier 8 damage across. But
Safi in the Bat Chat, one shot worth of damage done.
Yeah, that's
out of 12 fired. Bohan in the T125, 1 shot worth of damage done in 22 fired. It's just not a pretty sight.
Look, the saying goes, you miss every shot you don't take. But in this regard, they were missing every shot they did take.
Yeah, it seems that
only
way.
hitting one out of the many. So hopefully their aim, a little bit rusty going into this first game, but they still have a few more maps to play with. So for the sake of all the Team Efficiency fans at home, maybe this one was just a blunder on their part.
Yeah, look, it's their first game of the WGL APAC. Maybe a bit of a warm-up coming in there, so I'm not going to knock them too hard for it. But I definitely think there's going to be maybe some stern words being said in the team efficiency comms tonight, because that just didn't look like the team efficiency that we saw last season, and it's not the team efficiency that I expected to come into this match today. So hopefully we see a bit of a turnaround here on Prokhorovka once they've had a bit of time to settle down, reset, think about what the next map coming up is going to be. And I don't think they're a terrible Prokhorovka team either. So I do think at the very worst, we should see a 1-1 coming out here. But I'm expecting team efficiency to bounce back with a 2-0.
It very well could be, unless, of course, team efficiency, Coalition Zoo, rather, keep up that. That was a dominating display in that second half. Not dropping a single tank. They micromanaged their health quite well. You saw Chippies. He took a very big blow at the start of that round in response to them taking out Skell quite early on. And all they did is rotate him out and make sure someone else was on the front line. So if they can keep kind of those rotations up, there's no reason that they can't take this series as well.
No, absolutely not. I mean, it's, I guess, not surprising to see, but it's, well...
I feel like it's refreshing for me to see.
It is good to see, especially considering we've got Madhouse not in the lineup there, Roby1 Kenobi as well not in the lineup for Coalition Zoo. So two of probably their core players from last season just not playing tonight, and it seems to, well, to be honest, it's working out. So I don't know, maybe Madhouse and Roby need to be a little bit careful with their positions on that team. But no, look. Surprising given the fact that those two players aren't in the roster, they're still being able to be so competitive.
Yeah.
But it's good to see for Coalition 2 because it means that the depth of their lineup is quite strong.
That's the last thing you want to see. If you're just taking a night off, you got other things on, then all of a sudden you're happy for your team's doing well, but then you kind of worry about your own safety on the roster. But maybe it's going to burn a fire under them and hopefully get them playing even harder and making sure that they're competing in every single game possible.
Yeah, definitely. And moving on to Prokhorovka now, I think it's, again, this map last time, or for Coalition Zoo last week, I felt was very reliant on how Madhouse was playing in that STRV. Obviously, he's not playing tonight, so we'll see how they go without that tank. They do have a Lorraine, so that's the artillery coming out for them. Team efficiency, again, with a pretty standard lineup. Kranwagen being popped in there as well, which obviously makes sense here on Prokhorovka, but Coalition Zoo with a pretty heavy-oriented lineup, I would have to say, for the defensive side. An IS-7 and a T125 is maybe one more heavy than you would typically see on the defense, but a Grill 15 in there, lots of damage coming out of that one. I like both of these lineups, can't really complain about either of them.
Now, one of my favorite things about this map is just the amount of times we've seen accidental deaths by tanks rolling into each other, getting flipped, falling down cliffs. It's beautiful.
Yep.
So I'm hoping for maybe a little bit of fun on the side of tonight's serious agenda.
Team efficiency notorious as well for being one of those teams that does find themselves flying off cliffs or flipping their tanks, stuff like that. But see whether or not that's going to happen tonight. Skell going for the spotting run in towards mid. I think he might have only spotted out. There you go. There you go. You don't even,
Oh, man.
It's just perfect irony.
Look, we can't overstate the fact more. You say Prokhorovka, it's all about teams running into each other, falling off cliffs, and team efficiency, who does it better than them, and immediately off the bat.
And of course it's Skell as well in the AE251. I love that guy. But getting on the cap is team efficiency now, and more as well, I think, jumping on with Skell. So a couple of tanks there for TCZ to have to worry about. They're going to have to get in here relatively quickly because only 30 seconds left on that cap. I do like this bit of a quicker sort of a setup here from team efficiency, just really taking the game into their own hands and forcing Coalition Zoo to react. Which is not something we saw, I suppose, so much on MUROVANKA either, because it felt to me
very
like
complacent.
Yeah, they were just sitting there and not doing a whole lot.
They're going to force the hands soon. You can see a lot of damage coming through. Skell, he's taking the brunt of it. Gets down to about half line, and Chippy hitting their shots on point on that. Now Moore takes another one. Party as well. Joe, he's getting low. Party and Bohan, they might be able to trade this tank down for a good chunk of hill time. He's being traded. Can he get away? He's trying to do something in return.
This is so much better from team efficiency. You can see the focus fire there. They completely ignored the IS-7 until the bat chat was down. Their trades have been much more effective here, and this is really what I expected to see from team efficiency. Pac-Manius is going to go down here to this, I suppose, wolf pack from team efficiency. And well, look, this, like I said, this is exactly what I wanted to see from team efficiency and what I expected to see from them on MUROVANKA. And things just went a bit missing there on the first map, but it's good to see here, at least from team efficiency, that they're able to show us they're still in this one, and it wasn't sort of, or maybe it was just a bit of a mishap, I suppose, on MUROVANKA.
Maybe some nerves coming into it. You've got to remember, this is the first time playing in the WGL APAC Season 2, so they've had a lot of off time. They missed out on the first week, but now they're in it. They're playing this map where you can see Party and JT, their shots are on point. Chippy's now, he's not long for this world. He's at the end of the track, quite literally, as the rest of Team Efficiency should hunt him down. Nomad taking a few shots here, a couple more than a few actually. He's going to burn up, and Odysseus only on 22 health. They do get the trade.
That was a little bit interesting from Moore going pretty YOLO in towards the 1-2 line there. It does get taken down, but I guess he took out the grill while he was at it. It did a fair bit of damage to Odysseus in the Lorraine as well, so not too bad for him. But look, again, Team Efficiency, they've come out, they've showed that they can still play, and it's good to see. So I think we're going to have a pretty good match set up here throughout the rest of this series. Odysseus, the last one, surviving for Coalition Zoo. Team Efficiency should start off this one on Prokhorovka with a win.
Like we mentioned, it's a night and day performance from the first map.
Absolutely.
Where they were just kind of sitting there complacent, not sure what to do with their time, not sure what to do with their positioning, just letting the Coalition Zoo dictate every pace of the game. But this time, pedal to the metal, finger on the trigger. They were in the hill quite early. They immediately pulled off when they realized that Coalition Zoo had overextended, focused down the correct tanks, and it was all gravy from there.
Yeah, much more committed and confident attack there coming out from Team Efficiency. On MUROVANKA, they just felt like they were playing a little bit too passive. They were a little bit too scared to lose some of the HP early on, and they kind of played into the hands of Coalition Zoo, who were able to get those free spots, the free damage across. But this time, Team Efficiency, like I said, really taking the game to Coalition Zoo, being a little bit more aggressive and taking those trades and winning them as well.
Mentioned it's probably what we're going to be seeing here is them bouncing back on Prokhorovka with a nice 2-0. So they are going to be going on to the defense for the second half of the game. We saw Coalition Zoo on the first map playing very aggressive, basically taking that game out in 40 seconds flat. So I wonder if they'll be playing to the same pace, or maybe that loss has slowed them down a little bit.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think we'll see them play as quickly here on Prokhorovka. Prokhorovka tends to be, you know, I guess actually I'll restart my statement here. MUROVANKA,
the stage is yours.
Yeah, exactly. You can play that a very aggressive strat on MUROVANKA quite easily. You get those bat chats in towards that flag straight off the bat. But here on Prokhorovka, sometimes it's a little bit slower, I suppose, than MUROVANKA. You don't tend to see the quick responses like what we've seen from Team Efficiency here as often, because it tends to be a little bit more risky. You can take a few shots as you're entering in towards some parts of the map if you're not scouting things out properly. But on MUROVANKA, obviously, you have a pretty clear run in towards the flag.
It's one of those things that once we see the lineups, that will tell the tale of what we'll expect going into the game. But I do want to see Coalition Zoo, because they played quite well in the first map. Being able to take a round without losing any tanks is a feat in of itself. So I don't want to see them get too down and out about this one. I want to see them come back in. I want to see them play that pace that they did so well in the first series. And like you mentioned, if they pick some of those slow tanks, like we know they've done in the past, then maybe they'll be going for more of a controlled push, pick off someone, and then go for the caps.
I definitely think that Coalition Zoo is looking quite impressive this season so far. I mean, I've said I feel like Team Efficiency are stronger in this matchup, but Coalition Zoo last week, they showed some good matches, some good rounds against Meltdown, and so far today they've also showed up against Team Efficiency.
Let's take a look at the post-battle stats here and get a kind of feel for what went on in that round. You can see Moore and Safi really putting up the damage per minute there.
It's a bit more like it. You want to see those bat chats up over 2k damage. JT in the Object 140 as well, pretty good there, and Party in the Kranwagen, quite impressive as well. Some takeaways at least for Coalition Zoo. I mean, the Grill 15 getting a bit of damage across, Chippy in the Object 140, Lion doing a reasonable amount of damage, but yeah, again, this is going to be one of those same matches where I keep saying the second half of the scoreboard is going to show really what the story was here for Coalition Zoo, because that's going to highlight the players that weren't able to get the damage done.
I feel like that's one of the things that separates tanks from a lot of games is the heroes. It's all well and great. They get the praise they deserve, but it's the people that weren't pulling their weight that always seems to be the sinking factor for a team.
Yeah, and Odysseus in the Lorraine, 500 damage, really not quite enough coming out from that tank. Pixel, not enough coming out from a Batchat, only one shot. I guess you can argue that the IS-7 and the FE-215B maybe not such a big deal, given that they're heavy tanks. They're there to soak up the damage, but definitely Pixel I would have liked to have seen a bit more damage coming out from, and I just don't think you can necessarily justify picking an artillery if it's only going to do 500 damage.
Well, I think that's the thing. In the end, they've lost all their front line, so they're just getting completely destroyed. When
obviously,
the front line, its job is to soak damage, but if there's no damage coming from the other side of the table, then you're just kind of tanking for no one.
Kind of felt like they were fighting on two fronts there with the Grill 15 and the Lorraine sitting quite far back. They weren't really having much of an impact on the resets, which needed to come out straight away. So we had maybe sort of like a 5v7 in the favor of Team Efficiency when Coalition Zoo was trying to get those resets, and then some of the extra damage was cleaned up at the end by the Grill 15, but it was not impactful damage that was going to, I suppose, impact the sort of the state of the game.
Very reminiscent of the first round of the series here, with an aggressive initial capture, the force break, and then just the damage dealers just missing their targets, the accuracy just not being there. So we've seen efficiency flounder when it comes to accuracy. Now we've seen Coalition Zoo flounder. So it's just these mechanical mistakes. Like, the planning and the strategy is there, but if you can't execute it, then that's where you drop the ball.
And I think another difficulty there for Coalition Zoo was obviously they had the artillery. They wanted to play a bit of a slower, longer game, but Team Efficiency didn't allow that to happen. They went in quickly on towards the flag, and you saw one of those shots, I believe, from the Lorraine actually missing onto the flag. So maybe if that shot had have hit, got a big reset onto some of those tanks, could have been a whole different game for Coalition Zoo there. But the I suppose the RNG gods were with Team Efficiency in this sense.
Look, that's it, right? You just got to hit those shots. You can't be missing them, and it's crucial.
Sometimes it's not up to you when you're playing an artillery. It decides, I want to go over here. And sometimes
look, we're all gamers here. We all blame RNG. We all blame every little bit. It's never us. So when there's an out, they'll take it.
Definitely.
And of course, it's all the Lorraine's fault. It's all the game's fault. That was not a miss. I'm sure.
It is what it is, mate. It is what it is. Anyway, digressing a little bit here. Let's get into the second half of Prokhorovka. Have a look at the tank picks and see what's coming out. It's going to be no artillery this time.
Good stuff.
3 TVPs though from the Coalition Zoo and 2 Batchads. This is kind of an interesting lineup. They don't have any heavy tanks, so I don't think we're going to be seeing any sort of sit on the cap kind of strategy. Maybe I guess you could put the RU-251 on that western flag, but I would like to see an IS-7 if you're going to do that as well. No Kranwagen, which has been pretty much a mainstay this season so far on Prokhorovka, so it's a very light lineup here for Coalition Zoo. They're going to have to hope that initial fight goes their way, because if it doesn't, Team Efficiency will just outlast them.
We'll have to see how aggressive they decide to play this attack. They got the relay to kind of go for those piercing shots from the range, but Efficiency, they're looking good.
Yeah.
They got a lot of mobility. They got a lot of upfront damage. If they are able to get into those kind of sneaky positions, maybe catch someone off guard. If they are, just charge the grill. If they leave that behind, then there's no chance of surviving against 4 charging Bastion.
Yeah, my main question here is which flag the Coalition Zoo guys are going to be making their way towards, because I just don't think the one flag is going to work out too well for them with this lineup. Sure, they have the Grill 15, which can pump out a lot of damage over on that side of the map, but I just don't think they have enough tankiness or heaviness, I suppose, to tank the damage that Team Efficiency is going to be able to put out here. But it does look like Coalition Zoo making their way towards, or at least Pac-Mania is making his way towards that side of the map. Bohan is going to be really difficult to get out of that position there in the IS-7, but the Coalition Zoo definitely going to have to do that. They haven't spotted anyone out yet, but Pac-Mania probably hasn't been spotted out here either, given that there's not really any scouts on this side of the map for Efficiency. Bohan finally does get spotted, so that's a bit of information for Team Efficiency. It alerts them to the fact that Coalition Zoo will be probing that side of the map.
Putting a lot of their resources there, not even glancing at the 2-cap here, so Team Efficiency to go for a good defense, where they're positioned quite heavily on those vantage points here. So if Coalition Zoo can find a pick onto Bohan, maybe JT, then this round could be over very quickly, depending on how fast they play this.
Yeah, well, the trouble is Bohan sitting in that position is just going to be hull down, and it's almost impossible to remove a hull down IS-7. JT in the Batchat, he's obviously got quite a clear escape route. You can just pop down below those tracks.
True.
Would like to maybe have seen Party a little bit more forward over on towards the other side of the tracks here, but obviously Efficiency weren't to know the direction that Coalition Zoo were going to push through.
A lot of good shots onto Bohan, but let's go for a quick listen in with Efficiency to see how they're mounting their defense.
Bohan is safe.
A2. I said I was going to get crossfire.
Yeah, but you should have just moved in.
Okay, this batch out pulling back, coming mid. Seven, you need to come in mid, cover R7.
Yeah.
You can sit in this bush and not get spotted. Okay. You can stay around here. Adi, you can go forward a bit mid.
Party, you can come all the way up to here.
Well, I was waiting for you to take south first.
Gronoski, you just cover like get ready to aim anything around there.
Aiming.
Do you want me up with you, Botek, or stay?
No. You need to stay mid. You need to stay mid. Or you can stay up here, A6. I can stay mid because against.
You can see the concentration on every play. I loved.
It was good comms.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's not jittery. It's not
crowded.
Senselessness. It's just they're communicating every little detail that needs to be said.
And a lot of respect, I think, given there to Moore as well, who's their caller. They obviously are putting a lot of faith in his calls. You could hear him calling the shots, telling the guys where to go. This batch shot, come with me, that sort of thing. So I like that sort of structure that Team Efficiency has.
A lot of chatter, that's what I was looking for. There wasn't a lot of chatter going in the comms, but that's the thing, right? When you've got a dedicated shot caller, you need to respect that, because it's one of those things where if you the seconds that you may spend questioning the shot caller could have been spent doing so much more. So the team, they have to respect more on that on the decision making here.
And, well, Joke might be kind of the opening here for Team Efficiency. If they spot him out, he's quite isolated at the moment. Yes, he can get some backup from maybe Odysseus in that Grill 15, but really, they could potentially pick him off here. And if they get that, then that's a tank advantage. They can play a little bit more aggressive, get this reset a little bit easier, but there's not so much time to work with here. And there's not that many players that are actually going to be able to deal with Joke. So it's going to have to be, well, a good reset from Party. Straight onto Pac-Manius there. Great work from him. He does take a bit of damage in response, but I think it's a worthwhile trade.
You can see Pac-Manius is going to be starting that one again, but they know exactly where he is this time around.
And that's made the job 10 times easier for Efficiency as well.
The big shot onto Lion from Party. So Party doing a great job of picking his shots well, poking up time and time again.
That's how powerful the Kranwagen is on Prokhorov. It's got such great gun depression. There's almost no angles on the map that it can't hit.
Long reload time though, so he's going to spend a little bit of time out of the game until he can get himself back in there. But you can see they haven't actually spotted anyone on the minimap just yet, so...
Well, I mean, this is fine.
Yeah.
I have no issues with this for Team Efficiency. Playing the long game, they've got a HP advantage, albeit slight, but they know exactly where that capper is. There's not really much of a chance for Pac-Manius to actually get off that cap and survive.
Yeah, there's no shots.
So, Efficiency in a good spot here, I think.
Yeah, all they have to do, they know exactly where Pac-Manius is, so all they have to do, take a shot, go back to reload. Pretty much keep him prisoner in his own base. Ooh, shot coming over to Party. Not going to connect. The bounces one as well.
Yeah,
so.
and that's what the Kranwagen is there to do. I mean, that excellent turret armor makes it so difficult to pen it through the front. So he's quite content to take shots to the front of that turret. And he's probably going to peek up again here relatively shortly to get that the reset across. But I don't think he's going to have too many difficulties. Maybe if he takes a shot from the Grill 15 into the side of the turret, that could cause an issue. Oh, well, there it is. Shots. That's not so great, but he does get the reset. So he's, again, done his job.
But you can see on the side of Coalition Zoo, they're doing a big rotation down to Joke. They may want to go for Skell here, but Pac-Manius, he's down. The threat is gone from that capture. That's going to allow Team Efficiency a lot of breathing room here.
No pressure at all now on Team Efficiency. It was looking a little bit worrisome there with the Kranwagen getting so low. That was kind of their last chance to get the easy resets off the Kranwagen, but now that they've picked up that kill onto Pac-Manius, the ball is now once again in Coalition Zoo's court. You can see them starting to move forward here, but how much work are they going to be able to do with these bat chats towards the southern end of the map? The TVPs as well coming to join them. Maybe they can pick up a kill onto Skell, but I feel like they're going to take so much damage in response that it's not going to be worth it.
Look, they're just driving straight into the firing line here, but they are able to focus fire on Skell. He goes down, but he's only in the
not worth it.
2-1-5, so they've lost two members, Pixel and Joke fall, so Team Efficiency answer back, and they answer back strong, but Coalition Zoo, they're not letting up. They really want to go for the play here.
They can't, because they're going to be all on the reload very shortly. The TVPs, the bat chats, probably got 2 or 3 shots left in their clip. But once that's gone, it's going to just be the Grill 15 firing, so they have to make these shots count, and I'm afraid it's not quite happening. Safi taking a couple of shells, but he's still alive here. It does go down in the end, but it's a trade. So again, it's worthwhile for Team Efficiency, given that they have that tank advantage already.
Staring down the barrel of a loaded Grill, not the best strategy here. He does spot it out though, so it's only the Grill and the TVP left alive. Nomad and Odysseus up against the 4 players from Efficiency. Bohan is quite low, but all the other 3, they should have no trouble taking this down.
No trouble at all. I mean, Nomad in the TVP, he can cause a bit of damage. Odysseus, of course, can do a bit of damage, but really, the only one that's going to be worried at all for Team Efficiency here is Bohan. Every single player on this field for Team Efficiency, bar the IS-7, can tank at least 1 shot from that Grill. Obviously, it's going to be a few more for the TVP, but it's not a difficult situation at all here for Team Efficiency. They don't necessarily even need to do anything.
Yeah, that's the thing.
They
We're
can just
forgetting
sit around
the
and wait.
condition here.
Yeah.
They don't even have to push. They can just let those guys live on for the rest of their life. But the clock is in favor of Efficiency, being on defense with 4 members left alive. The only way out that Coalition have is if Odysseus just goes huge and just hits shot after shot after shot that's just penetrating, doing those massive damage. And he's going to have his sniping boots on today.
Yeah, well, I think it might be too little too late for that here for Coalition Zoo, to be honest. 2 minutes left on the clock. 2 against 4. I see no reasonable way out of this one for them. It's just not going to happen, and it's really a good turnaround for Team Efficiency. Like, they looked really, really poor on MUROVANKA.
Oh, yeah.
But
9-day performance.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Here on Prokhorovka, I can do nothing but sing their praises. They came out on the first round, played very confidently, and really caught Coalition Zoo off guard with a very quick round win. And then here on the second half of Prokhorovka as well, they just looked so comfortable on the defense. They knew that they were going to get those resets easily.
Yeah.
They took the shots that they needed and slowly but surely built up the health advantage. And you could see, obviously, how it's turned out.
Going map for map right now, if Team Efficiency can give this one a W for themselves. A minute 15 left on the clock here, and we're probably going to see this die down. Coalition Zoo, they're clinging on to the only hope they have left, and that's Team Efficiency lining up.
I don't think they can
like
even
sheep
get
to
the
the
damage
slaughter.
out that they need. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Nomad's maybe going to get 1 reload off if he fires all his shots right now.
That's the thing, right?
But it's just there's just not enough time for them to do the damage that they need to do. So I'm already ready to write this one off.
Any other game where the reload time is maybe 3 seconds, this is possible. But some of these reload times go up to, like, look at that, 13.5
Yep.
on the grill. If he's able to get some shots off, then he's only got 40 seconds left to play with.
Yeah, so we'll get 2 shots off max. But look, it is what it is. Their Coalition Zoo going to be bowing out of Prokhorovka, and
oh, they're going for a cap. Bold strategy.
they have no time. They can't. It's impossible. I think they're just going to try and pad the stats here. Odysseus will take down Bohan. Much of a muchness there, though. JT actually missing a shot there onto Odysseus. Might go down himself to Nomad, but again, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
Yeah, 14 seconds left on the clock here. Odysseus maybe get 1 shot off. He actually goes down
Nomad's on the
himself.
reload.
Nomad, he just wants
gotta
that
ram him.
stat. Not going to find it. JT cleans up the round in Efficiency. A 2-0 sweep on Prokhorovka.
Yep, good stuff from Team Efficiency. Like I said,
Bouncing back
they looked so much better there on Prokhorovka.
Oh,
It was the Team Efficiency that I expected to see coming out tonight there, and I think that really sets them up. Now they've got the momentum in their favor. They've gotten past that rough patch, and I think maybe, you know, it's hard to say on Himmelsdorf because I think that's a pretty good map for Coalition Zoo, but if Himmelsdorf goes well for Team Efficiency, then I think our predictions are looking pretty good.
That's the one thing I want to take away from this game is we're back on track.
We're
John.
back on track.
We're not out of.
We're ready for that reverse sweep.
We're not out of the bush yet. We're not out of the forest yet. We still got a ways to go as do Team Efficiency in taking away this series. But like you mentioned, it will be Himmelsdorf up next. And unlike the 2 maps we've seen, very like corner focused. You want to make sure you're getting those line
corridor
of sights.
focused.
That's it, right?
Lots of corridors on Himmelsdorf. You just plonk yourself down a line and hope for the best. Hope someone drives into your sights. And we saw that from Coalition Zoo, actually. Last week, they picked a double T95 strategy, which worked out very well. It was very difficult not to crack there. I wonder if they're going to pick it up again this week. We'll have to see. But Team Efficiency coming into this one, you know, they like their 50Bs quite a lot. They'd probably pick up 1 or 2 bat chats, maybe just 1, put it on Safi on Himmelsdorf here, but definitely liking Team Efficiency's chances here on Himmelsdorf.
Let's hope that Coalition Zoo, though, can give us some of those performances that we saw in the game number 1 because they were very convincing and very strong. But after that second map, and the thing to note is that both teams losing their own picks here.
So far.
So not really knowing their own strengths and weaknesses, it seems.
No, like I said, I think it was a little bit interesting there for Team Efficiency to pick MUROVANKA. Maybe something that we'll get to see further as the season progresses, whether or not this was just sort of like a one-off pick against Coalition 2 or if it's actually part of their strategy. But yeah, I'm not so sure I'm a fan of it so far. I think it's fair to say.
Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Have a look at those post-game stats because that's really what tells the tale of what went wrong for Coalition Zoo on this map.
Yeah, and no IS7 up there, but the IS7 definitely did a lot of work for Team Efficiency. Party, I think, despite not being up towards the top of the scoreboard there, really had to be one of the MVPs, I suppose, for Team Efficiency on that one. Getting the crucial resets when he needed to. 2,000 damage, 7 shots fired. That's pretty much every single shot connecting there, and Party showing us how the Kranwagen needs to be played here on Prokhorovka.
No, I like that you mentioned Party definitely being the MVP of that round, constantly getting the shots, even like you mentioned, the crucial reset, but then he did some more. He got a few more shots here and there. You mentioned pretty much hitting all of them. You can see more as well doing a lot of damage, but here on the second half of the table, efficiency. Even though they have 4 members down, they're still able to take away the round.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, they got the damage that they needed to get done early on in the piece, and there was some tanks that were sort of missing there for Coalition Zoo. 950 out of a TVP is not great. That's maybe 1 clip at best. Joke with only 1 shot damage, 1 shot worth of damage. Pac-Manius none. So even though JT didn't get a whole lot done there, he was alive and he was still a threat. Like, he was something in the back of the minds of Coalition Zoo there. So, you know, it's theoretical damage, I suppose, that they need to be aware of. Even if he wasn't doing it, he was still a presence on the map.
Well, that's the thing, right? The second that Pac-Manius was spotted out in that hill, there was no chance. We pretty much called it. This is the team efficiency. They have Coalition Zoo under their thumb. It's basically how do they want to end out this game. Pac-Manius, he's stuck in there. He can't leave. They know where he was. They can get the reset anytime they want. We saw Coalition Zoo go for the very desperate play to go for the rotate down the south side of the map. They just got completely shut down and went straight into the firing lines.
Yeah, it really felt like a matter of time. Once they did spot out Pac-Manius and got that initial reset, you could tell it was always going to be an easy reset for the Kranvagn. And actually, a little bit surprising for me to see the IS-7 actually pick up the kill in the end there. I thought the Kranvagn was going to have to do maybe another risky peek with no HP left, but the IS-7 getting the job done, and that made the job so much easier for team efficiency. As soon as the IU-251 was off the cap, it was all in efficiency's hand from there.
We see some very differentiating strategies on the first 2 maps. We're coming into Himmelsdorf, like we mentioned, very corridor focused. So not a lot of wide open spaces like we've seen on the first 2. So we could be seeing even more strategies coming into this yet again. We've seen aggressive play out of both Efficiency and Coalition Zoo. On Himmelsdorf, aggressiveness, if done correctly, can go down amazingly, but if you're a little bit late to the party, if you allow those defenders to hold those corridors and set up, it can just rain down hellfire.
Definitely will be interesting to see what tanks are going to come out here from Coalition Zoo, because Madhouse and Roby, 2 of the guys that do like to pick those heavy tanks. The T123 comes out from Madhouse, the E100 a lot from Roby Kenobi. So those 2 guys being off the field, maybe we're going to see a bit of a different sort of a strategy coming out from Coalition Zoo. We'll have to see, and it'll be interesting whether or not that the E100 is just going to carry over into their roster anyway. Typically, they like to pick 2 or 3 E100s on this map. So if
it's
maybe
always a treat when we get to see
that. Exactly. If maybe they come out with something different here, it might throw team efficiency off a little bit. But I definitely think efficiency aren't going to be too bothered by anything that is thrown at them. You know, they're very good on Himmelsdorf. They like those AMX 50Bs. Party in particular has some great performances in the 50B on Himmelsdorf. So I definitely think coming into this one, we'll see a lot of 50Bs coming out from team efficiency. Bit unsure what we're going to see from Coalition Zoo, though.
Well, let's hope that the accuracy is on point this time around, because we've seen 2 rounds so far just being lost by millimeters. The shots going wide. We've seen the artilleries missing in the hill. We've seen some of the batch shots just not the 113. Sorry, just not getting the damage down when it mattered. So hopefully, like we said, corridors. It's very easy. If there's a tank in front of you, you shoot the tank. You don't have to guess too much. There's not a lot of bushes to hide in. It's all about buildings. It's all about angles. So
it's a different game on Himmelsdorf. It's more like angling your armor, that sort of thing. There's different mechanics. There's sort of like the penetration and angling mechanics, as opposed to the spotting and camo mechanics that we might see more so on Prokhorov or MUROVANKA. But one thing that I should mention actually about Himmelsdorf that maybe might hurt team efficiency a little bit is that Bolognese isn't playing tonight for them.
That's true.
And Bolognese was last season one of their AMX 50B mains, and he was fantastic in the AMX 50Bs a lot of the time for team efficiency here. So I think it's going to come down to Granovsky and JT to really step up and fill that role alongside Party and maybe one of the other guys. I think Moore does tend to pick up the AMX 50B as well quite a bit. So here for team efficiency, that's my main question for them on Himmelsdorf.
Yeah, I'm excited to see if they stay true to that strategy and run a lot of the 50Bs and really just like gun down their opponent from the start, or if Coalition Zoo, like you said, it's all about angling those armors and making sure that there's the 2 E100s. I was just about to mention it, if the E100s are in the right spots.
Well, we see a 4005 coming out here from team efficiency, and I'm not sure that it's going to have a great time up against this very, very heavy lineup from Coalition Zoo. I mean, 2 E100s, never going to really pen that. FE250B183 is not the easiest of tanks to pen. FE215B, Kranvagn, again heavies, and I mean, maybe the 113 is a little bit more of a lightly armored heavy tank, which if you get the side or the back, you might be able to pen in the 4005. But in reality, I almost feel like that 4005 would be much better off being another 113, an AMX 50B, something like that for efficiency. So that's a bit of a concern here. it's going to come down to whether or not Party is going to be able to play that one well.
Right, we're jumping into map number 3. Currently tied up, Team Efficiency and Coalition Zoo, a map apiece, both taking out their opponents' maps respectively in a 2-0 fashion. So this is where it's time to break away to get themselves a lead here. Team Efficiency carrying the momentum in from the last map, looking to keep carrying it and make myself and Jordan's predictions correct with a swift 5-2 finish. Come on, Efficiency.
Yeah, well, we'll see whether or not that's going to be the case here, because it is going to be a tough match here. Coalition Zoo, we know, quite adept at Himmelsdorf. They like this map quite a bit, and this is exactly the kind of lineup that you would expect Team Coalition, or the Coalition Zoo, to do well in.
You can see Pixel already taking a shot, so Efficiency making their mark known immediately. Have to see if, like you said, that FV4005 is going to be a detriment to their lineup. Yeah,
well, I mean, he's in a good position here. He's got control of the hill, does Party, but really, there's no one from Coalition Zoo that is actually going to peek in towards any of these angles just yet. So what we need to see from Team Efficiency is we need to see some pressure on towards that 2 flag. Try and get those tanks pushing forward so that we can see Party get some damage across with that 4005, because at the moment, he's irrelevant.
I feel I've become so accustomed to seeing everything from our observer's point of view that whenever I'm playing or like watching from the POV, I just feel so naked. I feel so useless without it. There's just so much guesswork that goes involved, so much communication that's necessary.
It does give you a really good indication as to what these teams
really
are actually
on.
seeing. Because, when you're looking from the God view, you can see all the tanks, you'd be like, oh, why don't they just do this? That looks so easy. But
it's so obvious he's hiding there, right?
At the moment, Team Efficiency literally have no idea where any of those Coalition Zoo players are.
And on the offense, if they're, like we mentioned, if they're the ones to be the target at the end of that corridor, that's a lot of damage coming out. So if they don't angle their armors correctly, like you can see Skell, he's going to have to be the sacrificial tank here, going for an early peek onto the 2
This is
cap.
good. I like this from Efficiency. Skell just needs to get himself onto that flag. He spotted out that there's no one watching that angle, and now he should get himself sitting on the 2 flag momentarily.
You can see.
Or he's just content to spot the 2 flag, I suppose.
Guys, there is no one here. I can confirm there is no one there.
But they don't know that. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So they do need to be a little bit more careful than obviously we give them credit for.
It's always we're just poking fun here.
Yeah, exactly. Granovsky's pushing up the banana line just a little bit as well. So Team Efficiency is starting to mobilize their attack now.
JT and Lion, both at opposite ends of the train tracks here, but it's quite obvious to us that Efficiency are going to be going for that 2 cap, but Coalition Zoo, they have to pay respects to both of the hills here. 7 minutes left on the clock. Efficiency, they haven't spotted out anyone just yet, and Skell hasn't gone for a little bit of a cheeky cap either.
No, but this is the setup that we wanted to see from Efficiency. This is what Skell was kind of waiting for. Those 50Bs needed to get in position so that if Skell did actually get pushed, that he had some backup there. So that's now kind of a good setup here for Team Efficiency. You can see Bohan as well, sitting in the courtyard, is watching down the 5 line. As soon as Coalition Zoo do cross to try and reset Skell, they're going to take a couple of shots, or maybe one shot from Bohan there. And I mean, Safi running around in his bat chat, he's always going to be a threat.
Yeah.
And I just really need to see JT move up a little bit here, get involved in the fight a little bit more when it does start. So I think that's just what they're waiting for. JT getting in position again as well to look down that 5 line. I do really like this setup from Team Efficiency. It's going to be very difficult for Coalition Zoo to crack this if Party can get some work done in that 4005. If he doesn't manage to connect too many shells, then that might be a little bit of an opening for Coalition Zoo where the rest of Team Efficiency is going to have to really hit their shots.
You can see Efficiency have done a great job of covering all entry points onto the hill to make sure that if they want to go for Skell, they have to do it from the front here, because of course Bohan and JT are watching, like you said, that 5 line, so anyone coming in from the flank is going to be spotted and of course shot in the back. So a great setup from Efficiency. It's all up to Coalition Zoo. How do they want to answer for this one? Because of course
there you go.
They haven't spotted anyone either.
Pixel takes a shot from, I think it was Safi down that 3 line, or a couple of shots. So a good start for Team Efficiency, getting the early damage across, and the ever-present threat of that 4005 from Party, just lingering on the 0 line, not spotted out. Well, he did get spotted out, but he hasn't re-shown himself, so it's still a little bit scary here for Coalition Zoo to try and cross this. And I just feel like Coalition Zoo are going to give up so much free damage when they try to cross and get that reset that Team Efficiency should be able to find the win here. Now that they've started to cross, Pac-Manius takes a shot, probably from Bohan. But not so much, actually, so I think that's actually quite successful for Coalition Zoo, to be honest.
I want to hear what's going on the side of Coalition Zoo, so let's jump into a quick listen in and see how they go for the retake.
Oh, fuck.
This one is going out.
Nice bait.
Skill jumped off.
Well, why'd you drive there?
To get the reset.
But it wasn't that close yet. We
For
still
me
had
to
time.
stay in window or not?
Yeah.
That's alright. It's a good bait. Not bad.
Right, I'm gonna try to pull out all the way. Keep watching that 4005.
Yeah, gotcha.
Oh, I might not be able to pull out. Maybe I'll just stay here.
You're gonna get shot by the 113s.
Actually, I'm gonna take this moment. Oh wait.
Are we resetting?
Sorry, right, just then, yeah, 4
Because
minutes more.
if I turn around, that 4005 could pin me if he's lucky.
Well, let's see if this 113 is watching. Ready?
He'll be sitting on that corner, hull down.
Oh, look at
Yeah,
it.
I'm ready. Okay, base 2 capture again. I need to stay here anyway.
Go.
No, base 2 capture. I need to stay here anyway. I got lit. Where?
You can hear a little bit of frustration on the side of the Coalition Zoo, but they were
Justified.
able to nip it in the bud, say it's alright, there's a good bait on the side of efficiency.
Exactly.
They've got to pay respects to their opponents here, but seems they know what's going on. They're making the correct rotations, the correct decisions here.
That's something that I was going to bring up there. Coalition Zoo hitting it on the nail on the head there with the fact that it is a fantastic bait from Team Efficiency. There's really not a lot that Coalition Zoo can do here. They know pretty much exactly where those Team Efficiency players are. They know that 4005 is down on the 0 line. They know the 113s are sitting in the courtyard waiting for the cross, but you could see Joke was standing there saying, I can't cross, the 113s are going to hit me. So it's not a great situation here for Coalition Zoo. Even though they have the information, they're just not going to be able to get the damage done that they need to.
It's one of those interesting things about tanks. It's just there's so much you can do with information.
Safi just got ammo racked. That's not great for efficiency. Hopefully he's got a repair kit for it.
Make sure he
does.
doesn't get
He's
caught
just
out
repaired
here.
it. I heard it.
Skell gets hurt as well a little bit. Maybe TCZ answering strong here. Pixel, he is quite low.
Safi needs to be
Acmanius.
careful here.
Oh, Safi, you're not long for this one. Maybe the shot misses.
Yeah, it does, and well, the second connects, but that's enough time for Safi to get away there. At least one of those shots needed to hit the track of Safi because he didn't have a repair kit left, or if he did, it was just going to be, yeah, he only had one left, I suppose. So, but the tracking would have been enough time for Safi to take a couple of shots there and probably go down. But now that he's managed to make his way out of here, I don't think there's going to be too many issues for Team Efficiency in this one.
Yeah, he just drew the attention of two of the members from the Coalition Zoo, and that's going to be enough for Efficiency to kind of steamroll over the remaining defenders on the side of the Coalition Zoo. So, like you said, they had all the information. They knew exactly what they're up against, but there's nothing they can do.
Yeah,
there's nothing they could realistically do.
Perfect situation. Perfect situation for Team Efficiency now. I mean, they've only got a couple of minutes left to work with, but there's not that many tanks that they have to get rid of. They've taken out the FV215 B183, which was a big threat to their lineup. Joke in the E100 not having much of a good time here either.
So what could the Coalition Zoo have done differently there to avoid getting themselves in such a bad situation? Maybe, like you said, it was a great bait on the side of Team Efficiency. Even they acknowledge that themselves. Is that just you can't take those chances, or?
Well, I just think that their lineup was maybe a little bit too heavy. They could have gone with an extra 113 maybe instead of the FV215B, or had a bat chat on the field there as well, because with this kind of a lineup that they had, the Coalition Zoo, they can't contest the hill at all.
Yeah.
And that basically gave the 4005 so much room to work with, no pressure at all. Sure, maybe the 1390 can come up there, but he's not going to have a great time against the 4005. Yeah, if the 4005 misses his shot, but it's risky, I suppose, for the 1390 to just contest the hill against the 4005 on its own. But maybe if there was a 1390 and a bat chat, they could have gone up there, put a bit more pressure onto Party, opened up the map that way, given themselves some more angles to watch. But to me, Coalition Zoo, this is just the strategy that they always take on Himmelsdorf. Team Efficiency figured it out, and Coalition Zoo just gave up way too much map control for free.
Yeah, they were just sticking to their corner of the map and really not venturing much further past there. So great stuff from Efficiency to recognize that strategy, abuse it quite well, and perform quite a magnificent bait. They're catching one of the members off guard, forcing him to go for that break, and already they had the two AMX 50Bs. They were watching down that 5 line. They had a player on the 3 as well. There was really nowhere that the Coalition Zoo could step forward without taking a few shots.
You're exactly right, and that's the problem with the Coalition Zoo strategy that they had there. They basically allowed Team Efficiency to get into every single position that they could have wanted without really any problems at all.
Yeah.
Everyone from Team Efficiency was in their designated position without taking any damage, and It's just not good enough there for Coalition Zoo. There was nothing they could do. Once Team Efficiency gets into those positions, Coalition Zoo was always going to have a really difficult time trying to get those resets.
Yeah, like we said, it's the worst when you know exactly what your opponent's doing and you know that it's beaten you. You're in checkmate, and all you have to do is wait to call it, essentially.
It was too good of a strategy, too good of a setup for Team Efficiency. Not enough done early game from Coalition Zoo to, I suppose, try and fight against it.
Hopefully coming into attack this time, they are able to use some of that aggression we saw on MUROVANKA to their advantage and really pressure Team Efficiency to ensure that they're not going to make this a clean sweep after winning some rounds. So
yeah, the pressure's really on Coalition Zoo now. They've lost 3 rounds in a row.
Yeah.
They need to fight back here if they want to get back into this series. If they drop this one, it's going to be 4-2. Moving on to Steps, which is the last map in the pool. It's you know, a map that definitely can go the way of Team Efficiency. Then we see a 5-2, which would not be a great result again for Coalition Zoo if that were the case. You know, they got 5-3'd after starting off very well against Meltdown. If they get 5-2'd here against Team Efficiency after starting off very well, you know, we're going to have to start asking questions about their ability to close out games.
Replay it for you guys to kind of capitalize just how well the setup from Efficiency was.
Yeah, this is kind of, I guess, after the fact even, because you can see just this entire swarm of Team Efficiency players circling around the rest of Coalition Zoo, and there's just nothing that Coalition Zoo can do about it.
The byproduct, essentially, of having that perfect setup, forcing Coalition Zoo to pretty much walk, like they knew it was a trap, and what's the next stage? Spring the trap, I guess. And unfortunately for them, it didn't work out as they went down quite convincingly. Did anyone from Team Efficiency even go down? Doesn't look like it if they take out Pac-Manius, and I think the rest of the round just timed out when they captured the point.
Yeah, I don't think anyone went down for Team Efficiency, so quite a good...
great round.
Yeah, a good round coming up for Team Efficiency. Let's have a look at the battle stats, and Party didn't do a whole lot in the 4005 as we thought. I mean, going up against a heavy lineup, can't really blame him too much. It's always going to be difficult to get the shots across, but Grunovsky, he's actually showed up really well today. It is his first time playing in the WGL APAC Gold Series. He top damaged last round on Prokhorovka. He's top damaged again here on Team Efficiency, obviously, and on the entire game, which is fair enough. I mean, yes, he's being put into positions and tanks that he can do that in. The 50B always up towards the top of the scoreboard, especially on Himmelsdorf, but at least good to see that he's able to convert that and really do his job well.
No, definitely a step up here for Efficiency. This player really excelling in his designated roles. And of course, bottom side of the post-battle statistics where the saps of the game go 5 members filling the list from the Coalition Zoo. That's harsh.
3 of the tier 10 tanks doing 0 damage. That's not acceptable for Coalition Zoo, especially in FV215B183, which you pretty much just pick for the damage. Got 1 shot across and didn't even manage to penetrate it. So that's not a great sign for Coalition Zoo on that one. They'll need to rethink their strategy here for the second half of Himmelsdorf. I do want to see a little bit more mobility in their lineup.
True.
It's fine to have the E100s, but you can't just rely on E100s. V215B, 15B183, they're all too slow. They can't get enough done. They need to get some AMX 50Bs, some 113s, maybe a bat chat in there.
Well, Coalition do work best when they are brute forcing themselves into these positions, but I feel like they need to find alternative ways to do so. You can't just pick 2 to 3 E100s and just run it down
the
banana essentially, and hope that you're reflecting shots, hope that the RNG is on your side this time around. So if they can find ways to use that kind of overarching strategy of just overpowering their opponent, but maybe execute it differently, or maybe from a different point of the map, we may see some variance come in here. Because right now they seem a little bit predictable.
They do, and it's what they've been doing really since Season 1 as well, and it worked out quite well early on in Season 1. We were looking at Coalition Zoo up towards the 4th position on the ladder at the start of Season 1, maybe in the first 3 to 4 weeks, but once teams kind of started to figure out what they were doing, how to counter it, you could see the Coalition Zoo really starting to have difficulties towards the end of the season on Himmelsdorf. It was looking like their best map, and then all of a sudden they were down towards 45 to 50% win rate on it, which was obviously not what we had expected from them given the start that they had, and I think that's carrying through here as well into Season 2, where teams just know what they need to do against those E100s and they're not scared by them anymore.
Yeah, I feel like that's the story of the Coalition Zoo, is they show these signs of greatness. They give us hope that they can contest with the best of the best, and all of a sudden they just seem not confident enough in their own abilities. Like that first round on Himmelsdorf, we saw them barely leave a few fractions of the map, but as we are going to be jumping into the second round, let's have a look at what tanks these guys will be taking to Himmelsdorf with.
Oh, 3 E100s for Coalition Zoo. Okay, fair enough. T10s are a pretty quick heavy tank, tier 9 Russian heavy tank, and one of the best tier 9 tanks, or best tier 9 heavy tanks, I suppose, in the game at the moment. 50B as well, that's a quicker tank. The 113, I don't mind this setup for Coalition Zoo, but on the other side of the board, Team Efficiency, they do have a very nice lineup. I like those AMX 50Bs. Big fan of Team Efficiency's AMX 50Bs. The Bat Chat, probably going to be Safi, IS7, IS4. Just enough, I guess, brute force or tankiness just to take some damage but not go down, bounce a few shells. A well-rounded lineup from Team Efficiency. Maybe a little bit heavier oriented for Coalition Zoo, and well, again in this one, I got to say, I favour Team Efficiency. I like their lineup a little bit better. I just think the Coalition Zoo don't give themselves enough options when they pick this many E100s.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? I said they sometimes play at their best when they're brute forcing into a hill, and they're definitely taking that one to heart, and I admire their confidence in it, but I feel like they need more mix-ups, because right now, like, we're just predicting the stuff off the top.
Yep. Based
on a few games here, and it's a new season, new tanks. Start experimenting, guys. Do something new with this.
That's
because we've seen this before, and not just us, but everyone who's watching.
Yep. Your
opponents, everyone's watching, and look, are they going to send 3 straight down banana?
This is the problem here for Coalition Zoo, because Skell is going to be able to spot all of these tanks out as soon as they cross. Party and Granovsky in really good positions just to crossfire right into that banana line. And we're going to see quite a bit of damage going across to Coalition Zoo, I think, here. When they cross, there you go, a couple of nice shots hitting the first one, E100, another couple hitting the 2 following E100s. So that's a great start for Team Efficiency. They've basically fired 2 or 3 rounds from each of those 50Bs into these tanks. There's not much point of Skell firing at an E100 in an IU-251.
Anyway.
But he waited long enough to hit one of the other tanks.
Yeah,
and
right.
That's where he got the damage across from. But look at that. Look at how much damage Coalition Zoo have already lost.
And that's the thing, right? Because surely they know there's no way they're getting across this map without taking a ton of damage. There's no way they're getting across without getting spotted.
Yeah,
So
they understand it, I think. But the
they're
problem
just
is,
slugging their way into this hill. They're just like the double-edged sword. Every blow they take, cutting them a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
And do they have a big enough HP
no,
pool
they don't.
to contest?
They don't. The advantage that Coalition Zoo had from these E100s, which was that extra HP on top of what Team Efficiency has, already has been removed. And
it's been dwindled
Efficiency actually have a higher HP pool at the moment than what Coalition Zoo do have. So it's just, it's not gone well for Coalition Zoo, as Alex would like to say. I just don't favour Coalition Zoo at all. They've lost way too much HP on that cross, and it was a great setup for Team Efficiency. They knew exactly what they needed to do. Those AMX 50Bs just absolutely tearing E100 apart, or the E100.
So how does that go right from the Coalition Zoo? Because there's no way they could expect to get across the banana without taking this much damage. Do they just hope that they don't take it?
I don't know. I mean, maybe if you had a light tank at 1390 or IU-251, you could have kind of been a little bit more aggressive with that one, set it down maybe to like J3 to spot out the IU-251 of Skell, and that kind of forces him back, allows your heavy tanks to cross without taking too much damage. But with this kind of a lineup, again, it's the same problem that Coalition Zoo had in the first round. They didn't have the mobility, they weren't able to contest what they needed to, they just didn't give themselves enough options. And slowly but steadily, we're already going to see Team Efficiency start to pull ahead in this one. I mean, maybe Bohan goes down here, maybe more goes down here, but you can already see there's just too much of a deficit here for Coalition Zoo to be able to come back from.
Yeah, they're really just going in ham-fisted right now. They do get the kill on Bohan, but Chippies and Crazy B fall soon after. The HP pool just dwindling time and time again. And what good are the E100s if they're the last tanks left alive? Coalition Zoo, quite a blunder coming into the second half of Himmelsdorf.
Yeah, and I feel like we've seen this before from Coalition Zoo as well. I believe
we've seen it like 20 times before.
No, but this exact situation, I mean, where Team Efficiency, I feel like the last time Team Efficiency and Coalition Zoo played each other in Season 1, the exact same thing happened. Coalition Zoo tried to get those E100s driving down the banana line, and Team Efficiency just crossfired straight into it. So
watching
really,
Efficiency play Himmelsdorf on attack, you've seen this strat.
Yeah, it just doesn't
throw it out there.
It doesn't seem all that much. But look, there you go, another win for Team Efficiency. Coalition Zoo, it's time to shelve the E100 strategy. It's just not working. They need to maybe pick 1, 2 E100s max. You can't be taking 3. You need to be taking something a little bit more mobile, giving yourself some more options, because what they're doing right now, it's not working.
No, because there's no way that strategy goes down any differently unless they decide to go all the way up the hill, around the castle, down the ramp. Because if they're just going to be forcing banana and just hope on the off chance that Team Efficiency aren't watching, then they're dreaming at that stage.
Yeah, Team Efficiency just set themselves up so perfectly for that defense. They knew exactly what Coalition Zoo was going to be wanting to do there, and they got the information. Skell, very aggressive, fast down towards that spotting position. He knew he wasn't going to be contested because all of those tanks were heavy. They were never going to get into position there as soon as he did, and he set up a perfect sight line for his 50Bs there as well. So really, it was just perfection from Team Efficiency.
Once again, the Coalition Zoo showing a chink in their armor, and Team Efficiency able to slide the sword straight through and hit him for a killing blow. A wounding blow. They're one swipe away from that killing blow, and that's going to be... what was it? Steps up next? Yep, Steps
next.
up next. So.
Yeah, so again, we're going to go back on towards one of those more open maps, which we'll see what is going to happen here for Coalition Zoo. Surely can't pick the E100s for that one, but yeah, MUROVANKA.
Don't test them.
Well,
they'll bust them out.
I wouldn't be surprised, if they just were like, you know what, I'm just going to do it anyway. But here on Steps, MUROVANKA looked good for Coalition Zoo, but we haven't seen much from them since. So we're going to need to see that fire come back, get those bat chats in, get some aggressive, confident plays coming out from Coalition Zoo.
So if you guys want to see what shooting fish in a barrel looks like, we got the replay for you. It's 3 E100s and Co just running straight down banana.
Yeah, and they found themselves in a very poor position. Skell, Party, Granovsky, all able to get around behind them. And look at, there's so many angles that Coalition Zoo had to worry about, and so many angles for Team Efficiency just to get free shots into the back of Coalition Zoo tanks. And yeah, like I said, it just worked out perfectly for Team Efficiency. They could not have written themselves a better script for that second half of Himmelsdorf.
We're just watching the aftermath of what happened. They set themselves up with a massive HP pool, and by the time they even got in the eyesight of the 2-cap, they're down below efficiency. So starting off the round that poorly is just not the way to go, and that's...
there you go. That's Party in the AMX 50B up towards the top there. No surprises. Like I said, a very good 50B player for the Team Efficiency lineup, but that's pretty much exactly what you want to see from Team Efficiency. And unfortunate, or disappointing, I suppose, for the Coalition Zoo, both of their Tier 9 tanks out-damaging all of the Tier 10 tanks.
Yeah, that's it, right? They're just using those Tier 10 heavies to block damage, and look at the damage outputs here. Just tells the tale of it doesn't matter how big your shield is. If you bring in a...
No, it doesn't matter. When the opposing team's going to be able to fire as much gold rounds as they want, those E100s are always going to be penned quite easily. Maybe, yeah, not enough coming out from really either of those E100s towards the bottom. Joke at least was able to get a couple of shots out, but one shot from Odysseus, one shot from Pixel. It's, yeah, not a good sign.
Fortunate stuff, as you said, for the Coalition Zoo. Hopefully coming into Steps, they've got something up their sleeve, something they're saving for this exact moment, and I really hope it's not a bunch of E100s on a wide open map.
Surely not. It's surely not an E100 coming out here. I would have liked to have seen Madhouse tonight playing for Coalition Zoo, because we did see him picking up the UDES on Steps last week, getting the boost across. It didn't work out. I think that was against Meltdown, might have been, but overall, it's just another little bit of dynamic that they can put into their gameplay.
And it seems to be their Achilles heel right now, is the lack of dynamic strategies coming out of them, because if they're just going to keep trying to hammer down these kind of just ham-fisted ideas, it's just not going to work.
No, it's not. We need to see something else from Coalition Zoo here. And that's why I wanted to see Madhouse in this lineup, at least on Steps, so that he could get that boost with the UDES, throw something else in there that Team Efficiency has to deal with. But he's not playing tonight. I don't think any of the other players on Coalition Zoo actually play the UDES, so maybe we're not going to be seeing that come out from them tonight. So yeah, I don't know, maybe Coalition Zoo, they chuck an artillery in here, something like that, just try and get some sort of something early on in the game and throw it in their direction. But for me, Team Efficiency here to close it out.
Look, that's the thing, right? Efficiency, they started off quite poorly, but after a few wins there, have netted themselves 4 in a row, looking to make it 5, swing that final blow, get the kill onto the Coalition Zoo. We've heard both the teams' listen-ins here, and definitely it seemed more cool, calm, and collect on the side of Efficiency. You can see stress starting to erode away at the Coalition Zoo.
Definitely.
They were able to recuperate themselves, but that just goes to show signs of fatigue maybe setting in here.
Yeah, I mean, I know Team Efficiency are a very hard-working team. They're screwing a lot of nights a week, I think 3 or 4 nights a week, something like that. Of course, on top of playing all these WGL games. So they definitely work quite hard on their game. They're practicing hard, and they have quite a lot of quite a good team dynamic as well. In that, obviously, we hear some very good calling coming out from Moore, and a lot of respect from the other teammates given to him. But moving over to the tank picks here for final, or potentially final map of Steps. 113s for Coalition Zoo, Bat Chats as well. Not too bad. I like that. And team efficiency on the defense here. Kronwagen coming out, that's a good sign. The IE251 going to be in the hands of Skell. He'll probably be able to boost himself up for that 2-flag defense. And of course, a lot of Bat Chats on that lineup.
Efficiency.
Always see the Bat Chats for team efficiency in Steps.
Efficiency have really been utilising the Kronwagen excellently this series. Really.
Well, I tell you what, you better look forward to EL Gaming, because they like the Kronwagen as well.
I am. Anytime EL Gaming are playing, you know it's going to be an excellent display of tank mastery. So it's always good to see other people stepping up to the plate, though, and showing a little bit of finesse in their own right. We can see Skell already hooning across the map here. Remember, we are going into the first side on Steps. Team efficiency currently up 4-2 over the Coalition Zoo. 1 round away from taking the first series of tonight's games.
Yeah, it's not a good sign for the Coalition Zoo here. Team efficiency on the defense as well of Steps. I like the defensive side of Steps. There's so many options that you have, especially when you have an IE251 as your scout tank. You can get those boosts. You can go up towards the A1 sort of area with a boost as well, or the A2 area, I suppose, or up on towards that 2-flag boost as well, which we just saw Skell doing. So that's a lot of good stuff for team efficiency to make use of, and they know sort of where Coalition Zoo is coming from now as well. We can see those spots starting to come out here. Good idea. Oh, there we go. It's Safi. He's going to be the one boosting up towards A2 by the looks of things. Has he hit this right? I think he's got it. Nope. He's going to decide to descend.
Unfortunate stuff. He's no Skell who hit his boost perfectly on that one, but already Joke and Crazy B taking a lot of shots. That's not how the Coalition Zoo want to start off this crucial round.
Exactly. Krazib almost at half, Joke below half, and
they're just going all in right now. This is going to be an absolute battle.
Safi needs to get over to the fight very quickly, though, because he is needed in one of those Bat Chats. The tier 10, so important.
Oh no, Joker's already gone down. The first one to fall. Bohan is the one to clean that one up. Here comes Party, making his way across the map. Crazy B getting lower and lower. Pixel falls. This is going from bad to worse. The Coalition Zoo floundering under the pressure. There goes Crazy B. They are able to answer one back onto Party, but it may be too little too late as Bohan picks up his second kill of the round, and that's 3 tanks remaining for Coalition Zoo as Chippy's now in the firing line. Odysseus trying his best to get his damage done, but I think it's too little too late as team efficiency mop up the remains that are the Coalition Zoo.
Really good focus fire there from team efficiency. At the start, I mean, they got a little bit of damage over to Krazib and a little bit of damage over to Joke, but once all those guys were in the fight, they focused those tanks down, and then you saw Lion go down, then you saw Chippy go down, and now Pac-Manius is the one taking the focus fire. Odysseus has barely been touched, but by this point, obviously, team efficiency can probably do whatever they want and still win. But yeah, like, that's just something to mention. I mean, again, team efficiency, that's partly due to their communication. They call out those targets that they want to focus, they focus them down, move on to the next one. Coalition Zoo, for their own right, had actually pretty decent focus fire as well. Granovsky and Party going down there, and no one else really taking too much damage, but it was just too little too late. They got off to a poor start. They're taking a few shots from the Kronwagen, I think the 113 as well, putting those shells in before the fight started. But once the fight started, Coalition Zoo were just too far behind.
Yeah, it felt like the pressure got to them. They took that early damage and they thought to themselves, hey, we just got to go all in, right? We can't just sit here and take those shots. And you mentioned Safi. He was on the other side of the map, so the call was technically correct for Coalition Zoo to take that 7v6, but they just did it. They took too much damage initially, and they couldn't focus the right targets.
And having Skell up on the boost there as well, when you're trying to push into that 2-flag, you're right. It is extremely rough there. He was just able to pump out shells, and I mean, he's in an IE251, which is a tier 8 tank, but it's 250, 260 damage coming out every 5 or 6 seconds. And I would say he'd probably be sitting on maybe 1,500 to 2,000 damage off the back of that game. He's probably been able to get enough damage out that he's, you know, a threat, obviously, for team efficiency. And there it is, 5-2 in the favor of team efficiency. We were right. Good start. Good start for you to the WGL season.
Hey.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty much how we expected things to go for team efficiency, or at least how I expected things to go. I thought MUROVANKA might have been
that's
a little better for them,
me.
but I'm not sure. I'll have to have a talk to them about this after, because I'm not sure what the thought process was behind picking MUROVANKA.
Like we mentioned at the start of the show, they did a great job on it in the finals, and maybe they thought, hey, we're not too bad at this map. Turns out they're pretty bad at it.
Apparently. Apparently. We'll have to see how things go throughout the rest of the season, but it wasn't a great showing to start things off. No, not at all. But yeah, Coalition Zoo, and again, another defeat where they got off to a decent start, but just weren't able to get things towards the later stages of the match there. So it's something, again, that's going to be disappointing for Coalition Zoo, but it is what it is. I mean, we kind of expected team efficiency to come into this season and look pretty strong, and they definitely have.
Well, that's the thing. Coalition Zoo, they show these signs of greatness. MUROVANKA especially. They got that early capture where they forced the enemy in. They took the fights that they needed to do. Then they set up well. You saw, I think it was Pac-Manius in that little bush just scouting out everything for about 9.5 minutes straight. But it just seems they're lacking variety. They're lacking the ability to mix it up when it matters most. And unfortunately, that just seems to be the crux of their issues right now. So if they can solve some of these problems coming into the next few days and maybe even week number 3, I hope that they come in revitalized with extra bit of vigor and show off some strengths.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a difficult week though for Coalition Zoo. I'm pretty sure they're up against EL Gaming later on this week, so kind of out of the frying pan into the fire sort of a situation for them.
Look, and we had an excellent battle display on the portion of steps here that we got to see, and it was just an all-out cluster of fun.
Yeah, it definitely was. A few of those shots I could see just from that replay as well, missing from Coalition Zoo. That's where some of the damage, you know, has gone awry. So Team Efficiency just quite happy with this. And look at Skell, he's just sitting up on the hill there, firing shot after shot after shot, having a great time. He's having a ball. That's like the dream in an RU251. No one's looking at you. You just fire in the back of the tanks, and you're like, guys, I'm
just
helping.
A little mosquito buzzing around.
Yeah,
getting
pretty
the
much.
bites where it matters. Odysseus will fall here to round it out. And a valiant effort by Coalition Zoo showing up in the early stages, but unfortunately couldn't keep that momentum going. And let's have a look at that. 6 members in the top.
Skell with 2.4, so even exceeding my expectations.
Huge.
JT, finally, he's been able to put himself up towards the scoreboard. I've been waiting to see when his round was going to happen. You know, he's been down towards the middle, 4, 5, 6, 7 sort of positions, but now he's really managed to get the job done in that Kranwagen there on steps. And good for him. His first match in the WGL APAC, finally having a really good one. And obviously, like you said, 6 of the top 7 for Team Efficiency. That is really just the story, isn't it?
Yeah, Skell just being able to pop off completely. Like you mentioned, exceeding all expectations, and we set them quite high, mind you, that he was going to do a lot of damage. And now, of course, the bottom half of the table's Joke just selling donuts across the board, triple zeros.
Didn't even fire a shot, so that's, yeah, he just got taken out before he could do anything, which is, I guess it is what it is for him. But Krazib there with only 1 shot worth of damage, Pixel with a couple of shots worth of damage, Chippy with only 2 shots worth of damage. It's just, I keep saying it's not enough there for Coalition Zoo, and I mean, it is what it is.
Unfortunately, it's for the Coalition, so I do hope that they come into tomorrow